Hare Krishna. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept our humble obeisances.
Hare
His Holiness Lokanath Swami Maharaj ki jai.
Bhakti Chara Swami Maharaj ki jai. Bhakti Prem Swami Maharaj ki jai.
Thank you Maharaj for accepting a humble request.
ISKCON Ujjain Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.
Maharaj,
Sri Krishna Balaram ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sandipani Muni ki jai. Gaura Premanande. Hari Hari Bo.
Maharaj,
Okay.
Dhigorpu, our co-president, he will give little short introduction of yours.
Is it necessary? Introduction what? We have to introduce Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ka introduction. We have to do.
Short,
Amen.
short introduction.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Maharaj. So, we welcome all of you to this Shravan Utsav of Gaura Purnima festival. Today, we are very fortunate to hear from His Holiness Lokanath Swami Maharaj. Very bol. So, just for our own purification, although Maharaj is very famous, he needs no introduction, but for our own purification, we'll give a short introduction. So, Maharaj is sannyasi and initiating spiritual master. Maharaj appeared in 1949 in a village called Aravade. That village is also very famous now. So, Maharaj first met Srila Prabhupada in the year 1971 in Cross Maidan, Bombay festival. And for 10 days continuously, Maharaj went there and heard Srila Prabhupada speaking there. And that is how his dream to serve the humanity became a reality. He got inspiration and transcendental chance to meet Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj became an initiated disciple of Srila Prabhupada in 1972, and Maharaj accepted sannyas from Srila Prabhupada in December 1975 at the age of 26. So one of the most important instructions which he received from Srila Prabhupada was to preach Lord Chaitanya's message by organizing Padayatras. So we know very famous Padayatras Maharaj has been organizing from many years, and Maharaj has worked on establishing many temples, including ISKCON Aravade, ISKCON Nagpur, ISKCON Amravati, ISKCON Noida, ISKCON Pandharpur, ISKCON Sholapur, to name a few. And as we know, Maharaj is very well famous for his inspiring lectures and wonderful melodious keys. So in 2006, Maharaj took over the project of World Holy Name Festival. And with this inspiration, Maharaj has been instrumental in organizing the World Holy Name Week and Kirtan Melas all around. Maharaj has been author of many books, including My Prabhupada, In Conversation with Prabhupada, Bombay is My Office, and many more. So today we are very fortunate to hear from the lotus mouth of His Holiness Lokanath Swami Maharaj. So let us welcome Maharaj by one time loudly chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. His Holiness Lokanath Swami Maharaj ki jai. Over to you, Maharaj.
Maharaj, please accept.
Accepted. Mentally accepted. Your garland. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity of meeting you all. Well, it's almost like a meeting. And meet and talk about Gauranga on the occasion of Gaura Purnima festival. Yeah, you devotees had been remembering me from time to time and giving me something to do in service of all the devotees of ISKCON. Ujjain. ISKCON Ujjain is very dear to all of us, to me especially, because Srimad Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj was and is very dear to me. So then ISKCON that he founded becomes very dear. And then his dear disciples and followers also become very dear to us. So our connection is connection with ISKCON Ujjain and all the devotees there is because of Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj Ki Jai. So Hari. Yeah, he had been doing Krishna Kathas and Gaura Kathas there. He was also famous for his Gaura Kathas. As Maharaj was born in Bengal, like Srila Prabhupada, like Gauranga Mahaprabhu. So he also, of course, knew Bengali. And then he had access, I would say, to Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavat, more than us. We are unfortunate folks that we do not know Bengali. I know a little bit. I'm learning. Maharaj knew it all. So, so all the Leelas were accessible to him. And all the Leelas were getting revealed unto Bhakti Charu Maharaj, and he had been sharing those revelations with all of us, especially with you all, devotees and disciples of Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj. Hari Hari. I'm sure you would have heard Gaur Katha by Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj today also, if he was amongst us. But that is not the case, unfortunately. So hence, we are asked to do that Gaur Katha instead. So, so we'll try to say a few words about Gauranga on the occasion of Gauranga Mahaprabhu's Gaur Purnima Mahotsava Ki, which is tomorrow. Our Katha is happening before Gauranga Mahaprabhu's appearance, as Kirtan was certainly happening before Gauranga Mahaprabhu appeared that day on Gaur Purnima. He appeared in the evening, but during the day, that being Chandragrahan, moon eclipse day, during the day, there was lots of chanting and dancing, why not, on the banks of Ganga, right there in Navadvip, Mayapur. So likewise, appearance is tomorrow. So before his appearance, ISKCON Ujjain, and then of course the whole world of ISKCON is busy chanting and hearing and dancing as they hear and chant the glories of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. So this way we are preparing ourselves so that hopefully and prayerfully we would like that Gauranga Mahaprabhu will appear to us. One thing is his appearance in Mayapur, Navadvip, that's nice. But ultimately we would like that Gauranga Mahaprabhu appears to us, to me, so in order for that to happen, we have to, of course, prepare. And that preparation, I suppose we are doing, or we are busy with that as we do Gaur Katha or Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, as that we do that these days before Gaur Purnima. This is a preparation. So time is limited, so I better say something. So you have Krishna Balaram Ki Jai at Ujjain. Or I would say, otherwise, Krishna Balaram had come to Avantipur. And then Bhakti Swami Maharaj brought also Krishna Balaram deities to Ujjain. And that way, ISKCON Ujjain is like a Vrindavan, or extension of Vrindavan, non-different from Vrindavan. So then I was thinking that I would recite, remember, or share the pastimes of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Vrindavan. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, during his Madhya Leelas, he traveled to Vrindavan and took a tour of Vrindavan. He did not just go and just stayed in one place, in MVT guest house. No, he went all around. In fact, he took a tour of Brajamandal. Well, he did Brajamandal Parikrama. Forest after forest after forest, beginning with Madhuban. So, Laksha Sankhya Loka Aise Nahi Kaganan Bahira Hayya Prabhu Dila Darshan. And this is Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, 17th chapter. I'm just starting in the middle, and of course, I won't be able to. I could read. I'm Parte Pari. I could read. I just read. but we can't, we don't have time to read each verse. So here it is said that as Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of course, as he was nearing Mathura Vrindavan, and I saw Mathura from a distance, immediately Mahaprabhu does his sastang dandvat pranam to Mathura Vrindavan from distance. He comes to Vishram Ghat and takes a holy dip in Jamuna Maiya Ki Joy. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu runs to Krishna Janmasthan in Mathura. And he's not just doing a walkathon or just running, he's chanting and dancing on the streets of Mathura. And now he's taking darshan of Keshav Dev at Krishna Janmasthan. So as he takes darshan of Keshav Dev, he becomes excited and ecstatic. All his emotions are aroused manifold. And Mahaprabhu, he gets into very special chanting and dancing called Udanda Nritya, like a flying high in the sky. And by this time, word has spread throughout Mathura town, Mathura Mandal, that those who had seen Mahaprabhu singing and dancing and running to Krishna Janmasthan, that darshan itself was himself, I should have said, itself. It's not a thing, but it's a person. Was out of this world. The beauty of Gauranga and Hari, that Ajanu Lambita Bhujo, Kanakavadato Sankirtanai Kapitaro Kamalayataksho, Vishwam Bharo, Dvijabharo, Yugadharma Palo, Vande Jagat Priya Karo, Karunavataro. That Karunavatar, of course. So, not only those Mathura Vasis were seeing, taking darshan of that Ajanu Lambita Bhujo, the Gauranga with his long and raised arms, and Kamalaya Taksho, his lotus eyes, and Aruna Vasan is wearing saffron robes and Brahmin thread around, and all those different features, and especially the golden complexion. Had caught the attention of Mathura Vasis, and then the word had spread all around. And those folks, oh, where is that Gauranga? Where is that Gauranga? Of course, I should say, already at this juncture that although Gauranga had come, or Gaur Sundar had come, but their realization or their feelings were that Shyam Sundar has come. Gaur Sundar had come, but they were all thinking that our Shyam Sundar is here, Shyam Sundar is here. So large crowds gathered at Keshav Dev Mandir. And as Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this Bhakta avatar, was observed and chanting and dancing, totally oblivious, of course, to the surroundings, and he is in his own world, meaning he is with Krishna. That is what happens, right? Kirtan. Chanting and dancing, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. One remembers the Lord, and this is a Bhakti Yoga. Sankirtan performance is Bhakti Yoga. Yoga is a link. Who is linked with who? Atma is linked with or Paramatma or Supreme Lord. So like that, Gauranga Mahaprabhu is playing the role of a devotee. Bhaktavatar. Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam. Bhakta Rupa. So he's Bhakta Rupa. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that Bhakta Rupa is worshipping Bhagavan. How? Yagyai Sankirtana Prayair Yajantihi Sumaidasaha. So Lord was busy worshipping Lord of his heart as he performed that ecstatic kirtan. And he was with the Lord. And as his role as a Gaur Bhakta. Then anyway, the Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, from there, well, he came across one person in the crowd also was dancing. By now, everyone was dancing in association of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yeah, this is how Mahaprabhu was Krishnaizing them and making them Krishna conscious. Anybody, everybody participating in Gauranga Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan, he would be touched. His soul would be stirred up and his consciousness would be revived. They would all become full-fledged Krishna conscious entities, devotees. So they were all transformed, but one amongst them was very special. He was dancing right in front of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and so anyway, he invited Lord to come to his home. So he was Sanodiya Brahmin, and he gave bhiksha, gave prasadam to this sannyasi, the monk, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then Mahaprabhu came to know that The Sanodia Brahmin was was a disciple of Madhvendra Puri, and that is why he was very special. Amongst all assembled there, he was very special because of his connection, his Sanodia Brahmin's connection with Madhvendra Puri. So as Mahaprabhu is now at Sanodia Brahmin's residence, so all the crowd from Keshav Dev Mandir, which is at Krishna Janmasthan, they all have ran to Sanodia Brahmin's residence. And all that they want is, we want darshan, we want darshan, we want darshan. So there is so much demand. So when there's a demand, there has to be supply. So Mahaprabhu supplied their darshan. And that is what I had read. Lakshya Sankhya Loka Aise Nahika Ganan. How many people had assembled? Asankhya, innumerable, uncountable number. And they all wanted darshan. So Bahira Hayya Prabhu Dila Darshan. The Mahaprabhu had no choice but to come out. He gave darshan to all the assembled Mathuravasis. Bahutuli Bahu Bale Prabhu Haribo Preme Matta Nache Loka Kari Hari Dhvani. So as Mahaprabhu stepped out of the house of Sanodia Brahmin, and as he was facing large crowd, Mahaprabhu raised his arms, Bahutule, and he uttered what? Haribo. As they saw and heard Gauranga Mahaprabhu, they all became mad. And they all also started jumping, dancing. Haribol, Haribol, yeah, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Then the Sanodia Brahmin took Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu around, just within vicinity of Mathura town. We have many places. Now we don't say what those places, many places. There are many places. As we go on Brajamandal Parikrama, it takes us a couple of days to go around visiting all the places. There's also Mathura Parikrama. So after that Parikrama, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had by now desire to do Parikrama of the entire Brajamandal. And then immediately this Sanodia Brahmin became guide of Gaura. I could take you around. I could show you around. And of course, Balabhadra Bhattacharya, he had accompanied Gauranga Mahaprabhu. He was the only servant or assistant of Mahaprabhu. So like that, two of them. Gauranga Mahaprabhu went 2, plus 2. That is Sanodia Brahmin and Balabhadra Bhattacharya. They begin the tour of Brajamandal. And the kind of description that we read here in Chaitanya Charitamrita, the chapter 17th of Madhya Leela. As we read this, we get a little glimpse of the spiritual sky. Well, I should be more personal, saying glimpse of Vrindavan. As we normally hear how the books are, the paintings are, or books are the window to the spiritual sky, right? So as we read this Chaitanya Charitamrita, this section of Chaitanya Charitamrita, then window is opened or curtain is removed, and you could get to see Vrindavan and see Sri Krishna and see all the wanderings and activities and leelas and the dealings of everybody with the Lord. So that is what is described here. So as Mahaprabhu is now touring Vrindavan, and again, everybody who bumps into Gauranga Mahaprabhu, or Mahaprabhu gets their attention, they all think, oh, our Shyam Sundar is here. So there were cows grazing in Bahulaban. The journey started in Madhuban, there's a Talban, there's a Kumudban. The fourth forest is Bahulaban, before the fifth one, which is Vrindavan, where Radha Kund, Sham Kund, Govardhan, Nandagram, Barsana, that is Vrindavan. There's a fifth one, and then there's a Kamban, and there's a Khadirban. These are the 7 forests on the western bank of Jamuna. Then one crosses, Mahaprabhu also has crossed Jamuna, and then there's a Bhadraban, and there's a Bhandirban, there's a Belban, there's a Lohaban, and finally the 12th forest is Mahaban, which is Goku. And then one finally returns to Mathura, where Parikrama normally begins, so making one complete circle. So Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is going around like that. The path that he traveled on, that's the one that we follow these days. We follow in the footsteps of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And as we go around, we also remember pastimes of Gauranga Mahaprabhu in different forests. This happened here, this happened there, this happened there. And in Bahulaban, this happened. And really. So the cows, as they saw Gauranga Mahaprabhu, or they saw Gauranga, Gaur Sundar, but they thought this is Shyam Sundar. So all the cows rushed forward, and they all surrounded Gauranga, and they all started licking the body, transcendental body of the Lord. And Lord Gauranga, in reciprocation, he was scratching, caressing them, in between their horns on their necks. So like that, and they all the cows wanted dealing like that. So Mahaprabhu is managing, and it's not difficult for him. Many cows, so many hands also. He could exhibit 1,000 hands, and simultaneously he could scratch, caress those cows, no problem. because cows are not standing in a queue. Okay, queue done, next. That is not like that. They all wanted merciful touch of Gauranga or their Sham Sundar. Hari Hari. Then Mahaprabhu is proceeding with his singing and chanting and dancing is on. And Mahaprabhu is inspiring. Yeah, Chaitanya Charitamrita says, all the living and non-living, of course everything is living, supposed to be living. Only living is a lively dham. But it says, char achar. Mahaprabhu is inspiring them to chant Hari Bol, yeah, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna He. Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava Pahimam. And they're all responding. Whole Braj is chanting and dancing. Nam nache, Jeev nache, nache premadhan. Like that. Bhaktivinoda Thakur in Harinam Chintamani, he describes this statement. You know? Nam nache, Jeev nache, nache premadhan. Nam is dancing, name is dancing, and name is a person. The Lord is dancing. Nam nache, Jeev nache. Living entities are dancing. So everybody is dancing. Whole Vrindavan is ecstatic as Mahaprabhu is touring Vrindavan and getting them, inspiring them to also chant and dance. Then Mahaprabhu is proceeding on his path. And then he sees the sky is filled with the birds. And there are many, many peacocks right in front of him. And they are also in their own manner. They are Panchamagai. Panchamagai. Pancham. Means high pitched. Sa re ga ma pa 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 pa. Panchamagai. Pancham is pa. Not sa, not re, ge, sa re ga ma pa. That note is very high pitched. And sometimes Bengali devotees, devotees from Bengal, they sing high pitched. No one could follow that. So the birds, they were high pitched, and they were doing their song and dance in the sky, and the peacocks were dancing amongst all the birds. The peacock dancing like a peacock. Peacock is known for its dance. So, for the pleasure of Gauranga Mahaprabhu, or as if these birds, these peacocks, were greeting Mahaprabhu. Welcome, welcome. Suswagatam Gauranga. Suswagatam. Welcome, welcome back home. Welcome. So this is on their mind. So they're also singing and dancing, and they're all going backwards, like in a reverse gear. They're facing Gauranga Mahaprabhu, and they're all going backwards. And there are so many peacocks. What a scene! Really, we wish there were some videos of those days. If they existed, I'm sure Bhakti Prem Swami Maharaja would have enjoyed watching those videos. Me too, me too. But, well, not video, but audio is there. And that is Chaitanya Charitamrita. The words are there. But the words could be transformed into video if we hear the words, audio, with attention and devotion. Then that will take a form, and we could see. That's the idea. Huh? The scriptures are meant for showing us, giving us darshan of the Lord and His leelas and His dham and like that. So then Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, well, he has come across a deer, and he's catching hold of the neck of the deer, and like embracing, and he's shedding tears, Mahaprabhu, and the deer is also crying as he's touched by Gauranga Mahaprabhu. And so as he's moving forward from forest to forest, Mahaprabhu rushes forward and he embraces a tree. Okay, I think before that, as it is described, that when the trees saw their Shyam Sundar, who was Gaur Sundar, they became very jubilant, and their branches are trembling, they are ecstatic, and some water is dropped. That's like a tears of those trees. Some honey is getting dropped. So these trees want to reciprocate or want to greet their Lord. So what are they doing? Or Chaitanya Charitamrita says, "Oh, our friend is here. Our friend is here. We should be giving some gifts to him. Greet him, give him gifts." So what are they doing? The trees are shaking their branches, and all the flowers are, there's a shower of flowers, different kinds of flowers, right? Champak flower, parijat flower, this flower, that flower, flower-bearing trees. And there, as Mahaprabhu is going from underneath the tree, tree after tree after tree, and that tree whose turn has come, Lord is right beneath, underneath them. So they are showering flowers. It's like a pushpa abhishek is happening. They are not ordering their flowers from Singapore or Hawaii as we do when we have our Panchatattva Maha Abhishek in Mayapur or other places, Pushya Abhishek. Then we import the flowers or get from other states, other countries. Here, the trees have flowers of their own, so they are doing Abhishek. Trees with the fruits, they are also dropping fruits, and Lord is getting. So like that, patram, pushpam, phalam, toyam, yomi bhaktya prayashyati. All these trees are making offerings of patram, pushpam, phalam, toyam, and glorifying and greeting the Lord Okay, he's going on and on. And then he noticed on the branch of a tree in front of him at some distance, there were two birds, Shuka and Sharika. And hey, they are talking something. I wish I could hear the subject matter of their talk. As Lord was thinking like this, guess what happened? The Shuka and Sarika flew in the direction of Gauranga, and then Gauranga extended his arms, and Shuka sat on one hand and Sarika on the other hand, and the dialogue continues. For Gauranga Mahaprabhu, it is made easy now. He could hear. And there is amazing dialogue which Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has included in Chaitanya Charitamrita. It is worth reading and understanding and remembering how Shuka, the male parrot, he is advocate of Sri Krishna. He says, my Krishna is this and that. He is Madan Mohan. He even attract Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham. Like that, he is saying. But then the Sarika says, hey, shut up. Your Krishna may be Madan Mohan, but my Radhika is Madan Mohan Mohini. You understand? And like that, they are debating, and Shuka is trying to establish the supremacy of Krishna. Sarika is trying to make the points how Radharani is all in all. Even she is Vrindavaneshwari. Vrindavaneshwari, the mistress of Vrindavan is Radharani. And like that, it's wonderful. Then Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is at Radhakund. And those days, Radhakund was not known. And Mahaprabhu is inquiring, oh, has anybody seen Radhakund here? And no, we haven't seen Radhakund. What is that? No. But this is Aristagram. Aristasur was killed here. So this is Aristagram. And this is a Gori body. This is a Kali body. Body means Kshetra, the field, farm. This is Gori, this is Kali. So Gori body was Radhakund, and Kali, Krishna is Kala. So this is Shamkund. So they had forgotten Radhakund, Shamkund. They only knew Gori body, Kali body. And as soon as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, oh, this is Gauri body. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rushed forward. There's a little puddle of water. And Mahaprabhu started taking holy dip there. And so this way, Gauranga Mahaprabhu gets the credit for discovering Radha Kund is going to get other Goswamis to discover many covered over places or forgotten places of Krishna's pastimes. Those times were different Muslim rule and Hari. Vrindavan was kind of abandoned, and all the deities, many deities were hidden or thrown into different lakes or brought them to Jaipur, here, there. So those were the days, and Mahaprabhu is here. He has a mission of reviving the glories of Vrindavan. So he has come, and then he's going to be sending 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, Lokanath Goswami also. He was sent, in fact, already. I will not say that now. So, and then Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is doing Govardhan Parikrama from Radha Kund. He goes up to Kusum Sarovar, and then beyond. The first time he is able to have a darshan of Govardhan Hill, Govardhan Shila. And then Mahaprabhu really, like a lightning, he has rushed forward and is embracing the Shila. And what you see behind me here, this is Kusum Sarovar. And that's a Govardhan. And you can see this is that one, Gauranga Mahaprabhu embracing the Shila. Did you see? So I'm at Vrindavan, at the foothills of Govardhan. Hari. But I'm not conscious of Govardhan like Gauranga Mahaprabhu was. Of course not, unfortunately. So Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taken darshan of Haridev, and like that and as he's doing parikrama of Giriraj Govardhan, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is reciting that verse from Gopi, not Gopi Geet, Venu Geet. Antayam Adriya Bala Haridasa Varyaha Rama Krishna Sparsha Pramodaha. That verse Mahaprabhu is reciting all as he is doing parikrama of Govardhan, and his tears are bathing, many pilgrims. They do abhishek of Govardhan. They have a pot with a little hole at the bottom. They carry, and like they're doing abhishek. But Mahaprabhu, how was he doing abhishek? How was he bathing Giriraj with his tears? And then he was rolling on the ground in the dust of brush there, and getting up and falling like that, struggling. There's a transcendental struggle to complete the parikrama, and many more things have happened during Govardhan parikrama and rest of the Brajamandal Parikrama. And everywhere he is greeted. He's on the bank of Jamuna. Jamuna thinks, oh, my Lord is here, my Lord is here. So then Jamuna's waves are gushing in the direction of lotus feet of Gauranga, and Jamuna has bathed lotus feet of Gauranga. And Jamuna is offering flowers. Here are some lotuses for you, Lord. And then finally, well, he has gone to Gokul Mahavan also. So you could imagine, and everything is not described also in Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's a very summarized report or account of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's tour of Vrindavan. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami writes that, I'm sorry, this is how much I could write. Lot more has happened, but it is not within my power to write all that. I have my limits. And then he says that before coming to Vrindavan, Gauranga Mahaprabhu, as he used, immediately he would become 100 times more ecstatic. From normal time, normal ecstasy would get multiplied by 100 as soon as he would hear about Vrindavan, wherever he was. Now, as he was on the way to Mathura Vrindavan, that ecstasy was getting further transformed and multiplied by 1,000. And then as he was finally touring Vrindavan, he was more ecstatic, 100,000 times more, or multiplied by the normal ecstasy. So then Krishnadas Kaviraj says, who is going to write? Who is going to write all this? Who is going to understand? A lot of these things are also achintya, inconceivable. And he says, and he remembers, if one person, and that is Anantasesh, Sahasrabadan, he could speak or write. And if this was all to be written, there will be koti granthas. There will be crores of scriptures just to describe Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's tour of Vrindavan. And this is also what is Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam. Mahaprabhu's Anand, Mahaprabhu's ecstasies as a result of many pastimes and his emotions are shoreless. Are unlimited. Then talk also becomes unlimited. But then he says that Sahasravadan undertake this task of describing glories of Gauranga. Hari Hari. So So we also leave this recitation up to you all. And devotees of Gauranga all over the world, let us all chant. Well, first, let us all hear as you are hearing right now, or as we have heard from Srila Prabhupada, or as we have read in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavat. I also would like to add Srila Bhakti Swami Maharaj to the list, as he has recited the pastimes of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. So we all have to hear all that, imbibe that, digest that, contemplate, and then we also recite. We do Shravan, and then we do Kirtan. And this combination of Shravan Kirtan helps us to remember Smaranam. So go on with this recitation, hearing, and then get into chanting or speaking, recitation of Gaur Katha as Gauranga Mahaprabhu's appearance is nearing very rapidly. Okay, thank you once again to all the devotees of ISKCON Ujjain and all the leaders, organizers, especially Bhakti Prem Swami Maharaj for this opportunity. And Gauranga, Gauranga, Gauranga.
Thank you,
Hare
Maharaj.
Krishna Balaram ki, Krishna Balaram ki jai, Gaur Nitai ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Radha Madan Mohan ki jai, Sandipani Muni ki jai, Srila Bhakti Charu Sai Maharaj ki jai, Gaur Premanande, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare
Thank you, Maharaj, for enlightening us the auspicious moment, 12th day of Gaur Purnima. So we are looking forward your physical presence in Ujjain as soon as possible. So,
Noted.
Yes, not now, just after some time.
No, take a note of what you said. Your appeal has been noted.
Oh, you noted? Yes, not yet noted. Thank you, Maharaj. So I think His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj is.
Okay. Is the next?
Yeah, he's from 8 to 9. Supposed to shower his causeless mercy to us.
Okay, go ahead. Hare Krishna.
His Holiness Lokanath Swami Guru Maharaj ki. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki. His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Guru Maharaj. Prabhupada ki. Thank you, Maharaj. I heard is not good, but if you are unable to continue 1 hour, it is up to you, Maharaj, how long you want to speak. I heard your health is not okay.
It's okay.
Prabhuji, are you able to hear?
Yes?
Are you able to hear, Maharaj?
Yeah, we can hear.
Is it clear?
Yes, Maharaj. Yes, Maharaj.
Okay, shall do a short kirtan and then a small talk, okay?
Yes, Maharaj. Yeah, feel comfortable, Maharaj. It'll be short. Yeah.
It's okay.
Yes, Maharaj.
Is today the second day of the katha or the first day?
No, Maharaj, today is third day.
Oh, it's going on in 3 days. Okay. Should I start?
Yes, Maharaj.
Gopi Jana Om Gyan Tibendasya Yananjana Shalakya Chakshurmetanena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Savitamena Bhutale Sverupakadamayam Dati Swapadadikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uta Palakaman Shri Guru Vaishnavam Shnam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Gunatan Vidam Tam Sidevam Sadvaitam Samadhutam Krishna Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakharmitam Sa He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jalapate Gopesa Gopikanda Radha Kanta Namosute Sapta Kancha Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishwabhanu Sudidevi Pranamami Harite Vancha Kalpa Tarvyascha Vasana Bhayavucha Vedanam Pavanebhyo Vishwabhyo Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Hare
Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
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 Hare Krishna. Welcome. I want to thank the devotees of the Ujjain temple for inviting me to speak on this auspicious occasion. Swami built a beautiful temple in Ujjain, and thousands of people regularly visit the Ujjain temple almost daily. So we're very happy to be here. And as we all know, tomorrow is the most auspicious appearance day of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Janma karma chami devya. I appear, why? To establish religion. Vaitaya sarvana vineshita duskadam dhamma sansapanataya samavami yugirya. The Lord appears to establish the principles of religion. And when the Lord appears, he also performs superhuman activities. These days, you meet people who may claim, I'm avatar, incarnation. But we don't find any reference in the scriptures, nor are they capable of doing anything superhuman. But the modified incarnations of the Lord are all pre-told in the scriptures. Like the Bhagavatam predicts the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And when the Lord appears, he also performs superhuman activities. The pastime and teachings of the Lord are very nicely summarized in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, composed by Vrindavan Das Thakur, Chaitanya Mangal, composed by Rochan Das Thakur, and the Chaitanya Charitamrita, composed by Krishna Das Kaviraj. Srila Prabhupada, Pavanacharya, translated the Chaitanya Charitamrita in English and is today available in most of the major languages of the world. And the Chaitanya Charitamrita has the Lord's philosophy in detail, and of course many of the pastimes. And those pastimes that have not been covered in Chaitanya Charitamrita are covered in Chaitanya Bhagavat by Vrindavan Das Thakur. Chaitanya Bhagavat initially was written was presented under the name Chaitanya Manga. But then Vrindavan Das Thakur saw Rochan Das Thakur has also named his book Chaitanya Manga, so he changed it to Chaitanya Bhagavat. Lord Chaitanya is described as the most merciful of all incarnations. Lokanath Das Thakur, in his famous bhajan, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Therefore More, says, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you are the most merciful of all incarnations. And why have you appeared? Patit Pavan Hetu Tava Avatar. And you appeared to save the fallen people of Kali Yuga. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared along with his associates to establish Yuga Dharma for this age. Advaitacharya, who is considered to be an incarnation of Mahavishnu, when he was on the planet, he saw that the environment was very detrimental to spiritual life. And he and Haridas Thakur chanted read the Srimad Bhagavatam and prayed very intensively to the Lord that he may appear to save the fallen people of Kali Yuga. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also performed many transcendental pastimes. And the philosophy given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also very practical and very conducive to the age of Kali. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as you know, propagated the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Nama, Eva Kevalam, Ro Naseva, 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 Eva Gati Anita. Chant the holy name, chant the holy name, chant the holy name. Even when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a baby, he would stop crying. Only when neighboring ladies would chant the holy name. So the purpose of Lord Chaitanya and the social appearance was to freely distribute this chanting, the glories of chanting. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had predicted, one day, in every town and village of the world, the holy name will be chanted. Today, due to the efforts of Srila Prabhupada and his followers, the holy name is being chanted in almost every corner of the globe. I've yet to meet a person who says, I can't pronounce Hare Krishna. The chanting of the holy name is so simple. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu philosophy is there in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. It is said that by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, a blind man can see, a lame man can walk, a lame man can not only walk, cross mountains, and a deaf man can hear. By the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, difficult things become easy. And without his mercy, easy things become difficult. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the most merciful of all incarnations who freely distributed this process for obtaining. In this age of Kali, chanting the holy name is recommended. In prior ages, there were different forms of self-realization. For example, in Satya Yuga, the process was meditating on the Lord. In Treta Yuga, the process was having very elaborate sacrifices. In Dwapara Yuga, the process was elaborate worship of the Lord. And that same benefit you can get in Kali Yuga, chanting the holy name of the Lord. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at a young age became a prominent scholar, Sanskrit scholar. He obtained his knowledge on Sanskrit from Gadadhar. And at the age of 10, he had become a very prominent Sanskrit scholar. Nowadays, 500 years ago, was not the same as you see today. 500 years ago, Navadip was a seat of learning Sanskrit. Scholars would live over there, and it was a very respected intellectual city. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became a very prominent Sanskrit scholar at a young age. And he opened a Sanskrit school also at the age of 10. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a prominent Sanskrit scholar. And at that time, there was another scholar known as Keshav Kashmiri. Keshav Kashmiri was a devotee of Goddess Saraswati. And he used to take great pride in arguing, debating with other Sanskrit scholars. And when he would defeat them, he would say, okay, give me a certificate, and I've defeated you. So Keshav Kashmiri heard that in Nampadev. He was a very prominent Sanskrit scholar whose name was Nimaya Pandit. The Lord had many names. Gauranga, Gausanda, Nimaya Pandit. So he had many names. God has thousands of names. You and I may have one or two names. The Lord has innumerable names. Many of them names are characterized by his pastime. So Keshav Kashmiri met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at the Mai Pandit on the banks of the Gamna, of the Ganga. And Keshav Kashmiri said, are you that prominent Sanskrit scholar that everybody's talking about? Am I taking a humble position? Said, yes, but compared to you, my knowledge is insignificant. So Keshav Kashmiri said, I would like to see a sample of your composition. Why don't you compose a few Sanskrit verses? Nimai encouraged us to be humble, and he practiced humility also. So Nimai said, I can't even compose one line. You please compose. So Keshav Kashmiri composed 100 verses that glorified the Ganga. And then he asked his young competitor, so how do you like my composition? And I was able to recall all the 100 verses. And he pointed out the flaws and the good points of many of these verses. When Keshav Kashmiri heard that this young boy has memorized all the verses just by hearing once, in Sanskrit there's a word called Shruti Dhara. It means by hearing once, you memorize it. Just like, for example, when Shukadeva Goswami was reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, there were thousands of sages in the audience. And one of the sages in the audience was Shukadeva Goswami. And he memorized all the verses that he heard on the Bhagavatam, which he recollected in Namashivaya. So Shruti means you can memorize something by hearing once. So Keshav Kashmiri, when he heard this young boy reciting all the 100 verses that he composed, he was shocked. He said, I spoke at the speed of the wind. How did you memorize it? Just by hearing once. It's not humanly possible. And then Keshav Kashmiri, when my praise, and when he mentioned the good points and the weak points of the verse, Kesha Kashmiri was surprised. And he could not respond to Nimai's queries. Nimai was Sanskrit scholar and a teacher. So when Nimai students saw that Kesha Kashmiri is not in a position to respond to Nimai's points, they began to laugh. Just like when you're playing a match, the home team always gets more applause than the other team. So Nimai's classmates, they began to laugh as if they were making fun of Kesha Kashmiri. Nimai told Kesha Kashmiri, told the students, no, Kesha Kashmiri will reply tomorrow. He's tired today. He just defended and protected Kesha Kashmiri from many negative criticism. And Kesha Kashmiri went home. Kesha Kashmiri was a devotee of Goddess Saraswati. Kesha Kashmiri fell at the feet of Goddess Saraswati and said, you have always spoken through me. But today, when the young boy pointed out my faults, you did not speak through me. Goddess Saraswati said, you don't know what a young boy is. The young man is none else but the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I can't defend you against the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then Nimai, then Kesha Kashmiri the next day surrendered at the feet of Nimai and became his follower. So Kesha Kashmiri was also humble. He took Goddess Saraswati's advice. So Nimai Pandit this way argued with many Sanskrit scholars, and he was considered to be the predominant scholar at that time. Nimai Pandit had opened a Sanskrit school, and every day when he would be going to the school, he would stop by at a shop of a devotee that belonged to a devotee called Maharaja Sridhar. Maharaja Sridhar was materially not rich. He had a small business making banana leaf cups and banana plates. And from a small income, he would spend 50% in worshipping Mother Ganga. Look at his renunciation. 50% of a small income. So Nimai and Maharaja Sridhar had a very special relationship. Nimai would derive great pleasure in going to Maharaja Sridhar's shop every day. And we bargain. What is the price of bananas today? He would quote a price. No, you're making too much profit. I'm going to tell everyone how much profit you're making. And Kesha Kashmiri would say, come and see my house. You want to know how rich I am? And what Sridhar he had spiritual wealth. And he had, as his residence, only one room with no ceiling. And there was one room with one pot in the whole house. It was a broken glass. It was deformed. And when Navanath Thakur said, that pot was in such a bad condition that even a thief would not steal. So Nimai would go every day to Kulavati Sridhar's shop. They would bargain. And then Nimai would do his classes. Kulavati Sridhar enjoyed bargaining with his steady customer. And Kulavati Sridhar, day and night, he would chant the holy name. And from a small income, spend 50% in worshiping the candy. Kulavati Sridhar's neighbors would say, this man looks to be haunted by ghosts. He doesn't sleep himself because he's too poor to buy food, and he doesn't let us sleep. So, Kulavati Sridhar would be chanting the holy name almost non-stop all night. And the neighbors would not like it. But Kulavati Sridhar was determined. On one occasion, the Lord called his close associates and asked them, is there any benediction you want? Is there any favors that you want? And what did Kulavati say? My dear Lord, if you want to give me a benediction, please give me the benediction that in every birth I may accompany you, and you may come to my shop and bargain for bananas. From this pastime of Kulavati Sridhar, we learn that how a devotee's real wealth is surrendered to the Lord. So there's wonderful pastime of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advocated chanting of the holy name, and he traveled all over India preaching the glories of the holy name. She converted the impersonation to the path of personalism, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very much, he was against the Mayavadis. Mayavadis don't accept the personal form of the Lord, and they think the Lord is impersonal. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had going to Vrindavan, and he was passing by the famous city of Varanasi. Varanasi was the Mayavadi capital at that time. All the impersonalists were residing over there. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and a devotee from Tapan, devotee called Tapan Misra. Tapan Misra was originally from Bangladesh. Today we see Bangladesh as a Muslim country. But at the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, many of our acharyas appeared in Bangladesh, and many of our acharyas' pastimes were performed in Bangladesh. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in Bangladesh, Tapan Misra approached him. Tapan Misra said, please tell me what should be the goal of life. And Lord Chaitanya said, now you go to Varanasi and explain to him what the goal of life should be. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was headed for Varanasi, was headed for Vrindavan. He passed by Varanasi. And in Varanasi, he stayed in the house of Chandrasekhar. Yeah. Chandrasekhar maturely belonged to the scheduled caste. It was not a Brahminic family or something. But he was a great devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he could not tolerate any criticism towards Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's the nature of a devotee. A devotee may be criticized, he doesn't mind it. A devotee may be ridiculed, he'll tolerate it. But he can't tolerate the Lord or a pure devotee from being criticized. So, devotees told Mahaprabhu that these Mayavadi sannyasis are just criticizing you all the time. That is unbearable for us. Mahaprabhu didn't take it very seriously. And he proceeded on his tour to Bengal. On his way back, he stopped again at the house of, and stayed at the house of Chandrasekhar. So Tapan Mishra and Chandrasekhar approached the Lord and said, we are very embarrassed and we cannot tolerate these Mayavadis always criticizing you. Kashinanda Saraswati was the leader of the Mayavadis, very prominent Sanskrit scholar, a staunch imperfect. They could not comprehend a Mahaprabhu who was a sannyasi and who had taken initiation from a Mayavadi guru would be chanting the holy name all the time and not studying the Vedanta along with them. So Chandrasekhar and Tapan Mishra heard all this criticism and they found it unbearable. They told Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we can't tolerate this criticism of yours. Please come and take prasad in the house of a Maharashtrian Brahmin. The Maharashtrian Brahmin was a great devotee of the Lord. And he had invited all the Mayavadi sannyasis. And at the request of Tapan Mishra and Chandrasekhar, the Lord agreed to go to his house. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to the house of the Maharashtrian Brahmin and the Prakashananda Saraswati and his sannyasi followers were sitting on a higher platform. And then came Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu preached and practiced another Vishnu Chaitanya words. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he came, he sat down where we wash our feet. In all the temples, as you know, you first wash your feet before you go into the temple room. The Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sat over there and he exhibited a very unique transcendental pastime. As we said earlier, the genuine incarnation of the Lord, the genuine avatar, performs superhuman activity. You ask the present day avatar, can you perform any superhuman activity? And the answer will be, if not today, I'll do it tomorrow. Once I was participating in a conference, and there was a staunch Mayavadi preacher. He said, why do you people just say Krishna, Krishna, Krishna? We're all Krishnas. So I said, oh, really? So what about imitating or duplicating some of Krishna's pastimes? And he said, just because we can't afford on hill today, doesn't mean we won't be able to lift it tomorrow. This is what Prabhupada used to call forgery checks. So, a genuine incarnation, however, exhibits superhuman qualities, superhuman pastime, to get ease. So, Prakashananda Saraswati and his sannyasi was sitting on a higher bench platform. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sat down where they washed their feet before entering the temple. And he exhibited a very unique pastime. The effulgence emanated from his head, equal to millions of moons and suns put together. That effulgence emanated from his head, face, and the Mayavadi sannyasis, when they saw that, they could understand. This sannyasi is not an ordinary sannyasi. This sannyasi was very special, but he could see so much effulgence emanating from his face. So Prakashananda Saraswati came, took Mahaprabhu's hand, and made him sit on the higher platform. Prabhupada says, this is Agyata Sukriti. Prakashananda Saraswati took him on the higher platform, not knowing that he would be benefiting spiritually. So then there was a dialogue between Prakashananda Saraswati and his team was with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They said, you are such a prominent Sanskrit scholar. Why do you have to chant like a madman? You should sit down with us and study the Vedanta. This is the business of a sannyasi. You study the Vedanta. The Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took a very humble position. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very humbly said, my spiritual master considered me to be a fool, a man of very small intelligence. And he told me, you are only capable of chanting the holy name of the Lord. You're not capable of anything else. And therefore, I'm chanting the holy name. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, quoting from the scriptures, reciting the verses that describe the importance of chanting the holy name of the Lord. And in the argument that took place, in the debate that took place, Prakashananda Saraswati and his followers admitted the supremacy of chanting the holy name. And by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what happened? All of them became Vaishnavas. And the whole town of Varanasi was full of humble Vaishnavas, was full of Vaishnavas, and was Mahahaina. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, on the basis of scriptures, impressed upon Prakashananda Saraswati and his followers the importance of chanting the holy name of the Lord. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu propagated chanting the holy name, and he had predicted that the holy name will be chanted in every town and village of the world. We see Hainam parties all over the world. In Moscow, for example, there are 4 or 5 Hainam parties that go on every day, and people are able to chant the holy names without any problem at all. Kali Kali Nama Rupa, Krishna Avatar. In Kali Yuga, Lord incarnate in the holy name. So the holy name is the real wealth. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared to propagate the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was able to convince people all over the world of the glories of the chanting of the holy name. Once, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had a debate with a Buddhist scholar, and the Buddhist scholar was defeated in arguments with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The followers of the Buddhist scholar felt insulted. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu defeated our Guruji in a debate. So they made a plan to embarrass Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What did they do? They took fried, old, rotting foodstuff on a metal plate. And one of the Buddhist devotees was taking that plate towards Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, saying, "Here is a Mahaprasad for you, special Mahaprasad." And as the plate was being offered to the Lord, an eagle came from the top, took the rotten, stale prasad, and dropped the plate. Where? On the head of the Guru. And when the metal plate fell on the head of the Guru fainted. The Buddhists realized that they made a mistake. They were offensive to the Lord. So the Buddhists went to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and said, "Please excuse us. This was our offensive mentality, because of which our Guru is now about to die." And they said, "We had placed rotten prasad on that plate. Please save our Guru. Please save our Guru." And what did Mahaprabhu say? "Go and chant the holy name in the ears of your Guru." And the followers did that. And as soon as they chanted the holy name on the ears of the Guru, what happened? The Guru came to consciousness. And they were all happy. And what happened? They all became Vaishnavas. They all became followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he appeared as a devotee. He is God. He took the role of an ordinary devotee. Whenever somebody would say, "Are you God?" he would block his ears and say, "No." And he was God appearing in the role of a devotee. And he practiced devotional service and preached the glories of devotional service to everyone. Once Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was traveling in southern India, and Mahaprabhu, by his preaching, had converted all of South India to the path of personality. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in southern India, people would come to see him chant and dance. And just by seeing him chant and dance, they would also be inspired, and they would also chant and dance. So as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was passing through South India, he stayed in the house of a devotee called Purnima. Purnima was a Brahmin. He had a family. And Purnima was a devotee, but he knew the material life was not the ultimate solution. So Lord Chaitanya, when the Lord came to Purnima's house, he washed his feet and prayed to him for advice. He said, "My dear Lord, I am miserable in the present condition. I want to request you, please take me traveling with you. I'm sick and tired of staying at home." So he said, "Please take me with you." Lord Chaitanya responded. He said, "My dear Kurma, you're a householder. You have a family. You have children. You can't leave home and just abandon your family." Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "Chant Hare Krishna and preach the glories of Hare Krishna. Read the Srimad Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita and preach the glories of Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. In this way, you will always be with me and I will always be with you." So wherever Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went, he gave the same advice to everyone. Chant the holy name and he preach the glories of the holy name. So this chanting of the holy name is the prime benediction for humanity at large. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed as follows to write volumes of books on devotional service. But he personally only composed 8 verses that are identified as this is Shastra. And in these 8 verses, he has summarized the entire message of the Veda. In the first verse of the Shastra, it said, Cheta the Brahmajanam Bhava Madhvajna. And if you chant the holy name, very often people want to know, what is the benefit of this chanting of the holy name? What will I get if I chant the holy name? People want to know. So there are many benefits in chanting the holy name. And the Lord said, by chanting the holy name, the heart gets cleansed. Our heart is contaminated. Prabhupada used to say, our heart is more black than a coal. And this darkness is reflected by our attachment to Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Mad, Matsarya. These are the anarthas that keep us bound to the material world. And as long as these anarthas are prominent, we will not be able to develop the love of God. So chanting the holy name cleanses the heart. We see in our Krishna conscious movement devotees from all backgrounds taking to the process of devotional service. And without any discrimination. Lord Chaitanya distributed this process of love of God without discrimination. He did not consider who is fit and who is unfit. Just like when the rainwater pours. When the rainwater pours, it falls everywhere, isn't it? Falls on the fertile soil, falls on the ocean and the river, falls in mountain rocks. It does not discriminate. Similarly, Lord Chaitanya really distributed the chanting of the holy name. He did not consider who is fit and who is unfit. And Prabhupada took the same mood and presented the chanting of the holy name to everyone. When Prabhupada first went to America, before that, about the glories of the holy name. Prabhupada started this movement from Tompkins Square Park, where he used to he had taken a drum with him from India. And he would do the Hare Krishna mantra, and then gradually interacted more and more people. So we have practically seen in almost every civilization that the chanting the holy name works wonders. And Lord Chaitanya said, chanting the holy name, Ananda Bhuti Vardhana. You will also experience real happiness. Prahlad Maharaj says in the Bhagavatam, Vishnu, people do not know how real happiness can be found. So those of us who had the fortune coming in contact with Prabhupada and his books know that if you want real happiness, the only solution is take advantage of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings are very nicely presented by Prabhupada. And in the Bhaktivedanta purports, there's further elaboration on the text in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And by following this process, we can proceed, we can make spiritual advancement. Today, the Chaitanya Charitamrita is being read almost all over the world. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is continuing to preach through Prabhupada books and through the efforts of the devotees. The holy name is being chanted everywhere. And people are deriving great pleasure in chanting this process. So tomorrow we are going to celebrate the auspicious appearance day of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the most merciful of all incarnations. And we should dedicate ourselves to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teaching. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teaching is very easy and sublime. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu emphasized 5 major points for making spiritual advancement. He said sadhu sangha. The first activity that is important is sadhu sangha. If we associate with genuine sadhus, then you'll get a genuine message. And the genuine message is Namakirtan. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says sadhu sangha, and then Namakirtan. But that's not enough. The Lord gave us the various scriptures for our purification. So that's why we have Bhagavatam class in the morning, Gita class in the evening, Chaitanya Charitamrita classes. So study the Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita. Then you worship the Lord with faith and with full faith and reverence. The Lord manifests himself in his Archa Vigraha form. Just like in your temple in Ujjain, you have Krishna Balaram deities, Gaura, Radha Krishna, Nasagadeva, so many wonderful deities. The Lord manifests himself in the Archa Vigraha form. And this Archa Vigraha form is not different from the Lord. We should not think, oh, this is only a statue. In India, there are a certain class of people, known as Mayavadis, ISKCON, who don't accept the personal form of the Lord. But Lord appears in his Acharya form. And then live in a dham, become a dhamasi. Or better, make your place into like a dham. Wherever the Lord is glorified, the place becomes a dham. Prabhupada said these temples, they're in New York, London, Paris, they're not in these cities, they're all Vaikuntha. So Prabhupada brought this philosophy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This philosophy is eternal in nature and is meant for entire humanity. So on this auspicious day, we should, as we prepare for Gopal Purnima, which is tomorrow, we should become more determined to follow Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings and to preach his teachings. Jai Dakotai Kao, Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, oh, you see, peace give the message of Lord Krishna. So thank you very much. I want to thank again the devotees of the Ujjain temple who took the trouble to invite me. And Lord Chaitanya's glories are really unlimited. We have just touched upon a tiny portion. We can go on discussing these pastimes, and they'll never get tired, and they'll always appear ever fresh. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank
Maharaj?
you, Maharaj. Thank you very much,
Bob?
Maharaj. Yes, Maharaj, we can hear.
Okay.
Yes, Maharaj.
Were you able to hear clearly?
Yes, Maharaj. Sound is very clear. Yeah. Yes.
So when I was speaking, was it clear enough?
Yes, Maharaj. Yes.
Okay, it said 9 to 10, so it's 10 o'clock now.
Very nectarian, Maharaj.
Pardon?
A very nectarian discussion.
No. No, you said 1 hour. Well, thank you.
Thank you very much, Maharaj, for extending yourself.
So I go now?
You are stressing yourself for our benefit. Thank you so much.
No, I'm not doing it for your benefit, I'm doing it for my benefit. When I associate with nice devotees, when we think about the Ujjain temple built by Bhakti Charu Swami with so much effort, we also get purified. Wonderful. So I feel bad that I haven't come to Ujjain lately, but it's mainly with the COVID. I'm trying to be a little careful.
Yes, Maharaj. Here also, COVID is increasing. So maximum we are doing online. Please bless us so that we can celebrate nicely under your guidance the Gaura Purnima festival. We just want to.
We have Bhakti Charu Maharaja's instructions. We are trying to, we should follow those instructions, and with the help of the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis to progress further. So thank you very much, Maharaj. I'm in touch with you.
Thank you. His name is Gopal Krishna Goswami Guru Maharaj ki.
Bhakti Charu Swami ki, Prabhupada ki.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much for being connected. So today evening we'll be hearing from His Holiness Bhakti Prem Swami Maharaj. The timing for the lecture is from 6 to 7 p.m. So please be connected online on the time. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna and wish you all a very happy Gaura Purnima. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.